this question comes from Michael Copeland Jr., one of our recent ILT Academy graduates. He asks, how do I find investors? And this could be a full day-long conversation, I guess, Nick.
Yeah. Well, I would let me flip it to you for a second, Ramsey. How did you find investors for your business?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess the caveat is, of course, there are different types of investors out there, right? There are angel investors, there's venture capital investors, there's friends and family. I think early on, the natural progression for a startup is you're going to plan on raising multiple funding rounds for the most part. If you're a venture backable business, early on, you're probably going to raise a friends and family round, which is just like it sounds, generally going to be your friends and family, those that would be considered to be accredited investors. They meet some minimum requirements, like net worth or whatever, and they believe in you is the number one thing there. Like you could have the best idea in the world. At early stage, the founder is the most important thing. And so you're finding people that are willing to take a bet on you as a person. And so generally that's going to be people that are close to you. Right.
Right.
And that's where we saw success early on. We raised a friends and family round. We were lucky to kind of get in contact with some folks in our network that were willing to invest, a few $1,000s, $10,000, $25,000 in our business early on. So that's kind of the first stage. And then, I think maybe the root of this question, the more difficult part is finding accredited like angels and venture capital, because those are professional investors. And that's when things get real, right? So this is something that we've also done. We've raised some venture capital. I guess, there are a few simple tips and tricks that I could share. So, I would start by going to an online directory where venture capital firms are listed. So a classic one is Crunchbase. There's a number of these, PitchBook, AngelList, et cetera, where you can find investors that are writing checks. From there, you can kind of go through and sort and filter by investors that would be a good fit for you. So the stage that they typically invest, the domain relevance they have, the industry that they focus on. You should ultimately be targeting investors who have already invested in your space, who get what you're doing. Like a lot of, I think, early stage founders, Nick, waste time trying to just like spray and pray, pitch everybody.
Right.
And you end up, wasting your time. You end up burning out because you're trying to ask for money from people who are never going to give it to you.
Right.
And so you really need to do the homework before you even are pitching an investor, to create a list. I would say somewhere between 50 and 100 if you're raising a pre-seed or a seed round. Investors that meet your criteria, that would even be interested in talking to you. And then my second piece of advice there would be the best way to get in contact, whether it's raising money or finding customers, is a warm intro. And you can cultivate warm intros. You don't have to know the investor from like college, or they don't have to be a friend of your dentist or whatever for them to respond to an email. But you should do some work to figure out if there's a way for you to get a warm intro from them.
Right.
So one of those ways might be looking at their portfolio companies, reaching out to the founders that they've already invested in, asking them if they'd be willing to make an intro or share more about them. There are some great programs like ILT, like Generator, like Beta that, do some introduction mapping between founders and funders. But I would say, generally speaking, the more work you can do to make that connection warm, as opposed to just sending a cold email and saying, hey, my name is founder XYZ, I would like your money, like that will go a long way. So.
Right. No, totally. And Ramsey, you threw out a term some people may or may not know, accredited investor.
Yeah.
I think it's really important that people understand that there are many types of people that can invest in your business, but accredited investors are people that have a high net worth, right? They need to be at a certain dollar amount.
Legally.
in a court, and this is a legal designation, and it's based off of their income, their net worth, asset size, could be their professional experience. You're going to want to dive into this, but I mean, at a high level, these are people that have invested in things before. Could be startups, could be stocks. They have to have an average yearly income of over 200K. So you can raise money through the friends and family round is part of what you mentioned, but then there's another group here where they're all accredited. And you're going to want to understand these different groups of people when you're thinking about going after investors, which type, and the way that I like to frame it up to yes and what Ramsey was just saying is think of them as investor customers. Investor customers, because your customers, when you think about your target audience, they have different needs and goals that they're trying to accomplish, and they want to use your product or service to help them accomplish that need or goal. Well, investor customers are the same way. They have needs and goals they're trying to accomplish. It usually has to do with them increasing their net worth, growing their portfolio. I mean, maybe they're an impact investor where they want to help specific types of businesses or specific types of business owners. But you have to know that. Okay. You can't just walk into the room. Like, as we jokingly say, not everybody with a mouth wants my peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Well, not everybody that has a bank account wants to give you their money.
Yeah. That's a great point.
You got to break it down and you got to understand it.
So investors as customers, warm introductions, do your homework beforehand, use online resources like Crunchbase or PitchBook or AngelList. I think now AngelList is called something else. Go through ILT Academy, go through an accelerator like Beta or Generator or Techstars or Y Combinator, whatever you can do.